Okay, in this video I would go over how to connect the remote control decoy timer to the baby mojo. So baby mojo has a battery, as you can see here, has a plug for the charger and the on and off switch. So the first thing that we need to do is, if I look at the wiring diagram, we need to connect the receiver. We need to make sure that we connect our RF receiver or decoy timer right after the switch. Some people make a mistake and they connect the receiver right to the battery. The problem with it, it's going to consume your power all the time because it's connected directly to the receiver, and also you will not be able to configure the timer. So make sure that the receiver is connected off after the switch. So when you disconnect the switch, nothing is powered on. Okay, so if you look at the battery here, so a lot of people having a problem to figure out how to connect. There's so many wires, how to connect it. First of all, we have the diagram here for the mojo. It's kind of pretty simple. You can match the diagram, red, black, and know how to connect. But if you don't know it, if you don't have a diagram, if your decoy is slightly different, the first thing you need to do is to look at the battery, at your power wire. So here's the red, here's your positive. It goes, if you look down there, it's hard to see on a video, but you can look at your switches. So the red wire goes to the switch and goes to the charger, of course, because when the charger is connected, it doesn't matter if the switch is on and off, it's going to charge your battery. So it goes to the switch. The other wire from the switch, you have to look, so there are two wires also going in. So one wire is coming from the switch and this wire is going to the motor. So this wire going to the motor, and this is coming from the switch. So this is the wire that we need to use, and if you look, it goes to the side of this plug. So the side red wire is the one coming from the battery and then a switch. So this is the switchable wire, and it loops back and it comes back here in the middle red wire, and that goes to the motor. So we're gonna use this connector, and we're gonna connect our decoy to this loop. So what I'm gonna do, so I already connected button is not connected, because the best thing to do is actually drill the hole here in the back of the mojo and put the button there so it nicely fits there, and then solder the wire in place. So I just soldered it so to show you how it's done. I'm gonna use quick connectors. You can use the butt connectors. I use the quick connectors because I just, for the videos, it's easy to disconnect and connect and show how it's all connected. So I'm gonna use those butt connectors. You can solder the wires in place. You can use different crimp connectors, doesn't really matter. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut this wire. So from the switch, the power needs to go to the red wire of the RF receiver. So I'm gonna cut this loop in the middle. You can also cut it here, it doesn't really matter. I use the loop, I don't know, just easier. So I'm gonna strip some of the wires here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to connect a one butt connector. So use the crimp tool. Okay, so this is, again, this is the side wire. This is coming from the switch. So this needs to go to the red. So we're going to connect a male plug here. So this will come here. The output is yellow, and we're going to use a different. We're going to use a female to make sure we can switch them later on. And we're going to use the male on the one coming from the decoy. Okay, so I got this connected. Now the black one is spliced with the black. Doesn't really matter where, because the black is the same. I'm not sure why they did this. I think they did this because they wanted to plug something else there, so they can make it easier to unplug it and plug maybe a timer or something like that. So I'm going to use the quick splicer here. The wire is kind of thick. I'm not sure what they are. They look like they are 18 gauge. Okay, got this connected, so I'm going to use the quick connector on the black. Gonna plug it here. Okay, so as far as the connection, it's all completed. So let's now go to the next step, is configure the pair the remote with the receiver. So some people also contacted us having problem. They don't understand the instructions. The instruction says that you push and hold configuration button, you supply the power, you turn the power on. Power to the load will supply it for a brief moment. Wait for about 5 seconds until power briefly supplied to the load for the second time, and release the button. And the receiver is ready to pair it with the remote. Then push selected button on the remote. You can do A, B, C, D, or all of them. And that's it. That will be, and then turn the power off. So let's try that. So I'm going to push the button. Let me connect the wing here so we can see it power on. Okay, so I'm gonna push the button, turn the power on. Power supplied for a brief second. We'll wait until it's supplied for the second time. Now, if I'll keep holding it, it will turn on. It means it's too late. It actually goes in a kind of lock mode. You have to start over. So again, you push the button, you supply the power. It's applied once to the decoy. Wait until the second time. And now we release the button. Now we can use the remote. So if we push the A and hold it, it turns on for a brief moment. Let's say if we want to pair the button B also, we can hold it, C and D. And that's it. We turn the power off. So if we turn the power back on, now we can use the remote to control the decoy. So we turn it on, turns on, push again, turns off, push the D button, same thing. Okay, so now the second step is to pair not to pair, but to configure the timer. So the timer, you can set up at different points, basically turn on and off decoy with the different timing. And to configure the timer, basically what you do, you push the button. Okay, we don't need the remote, so okay, let's turn it off first. And that's actually one of the features is when you turn it on, you can either use the remote to turn on the decoy, or if you don't need it, if you want to just turn it on, you can just push a button. It does the same thing. Push the button one more time, it turns it off. So both of them works. Okay, so we're going to turn the decoy off. We don't need a remote to configure the timer. We're going to push the button. We're going to supply the power, wait until it powered once, and release the button. Now, every time we push the button, we configure the decoy to the specific timing. So if we want to run for 2 seconds, we push for 2 seconds, release, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, and then maybe longer, then maybe pause for 5 seconds, then again maybe 1, 2, and 3, and then maybe pause for 10 seconds. So you configure that sequence, and then you turn the decoy off, and that configuration is saved in. So next time you turn it on and you push the button, remote or configuration, it will run with the configuration that you set. So here's our short burst, and then and then the longer wait times, and then again shorter bursts. Now if you need to reconfigure it, you do the same steps. If you just want to make the decoy to turn on and off without a timing feature, what you do is you push the button, you go to the programming mode, and then you release the button, you push it one more time, and then you turn the power off. So in this way we kind of didn't really program anything because we started but never finished it. So if we turn it back on and push the button, it's just gonna rotate without stopping. So this is if you just want to make it a remote control on and off. Now, and as you saw, it overrode our program. So now if we want to go back and reprogram it, we're going through the same steps and maybe make it 1, 2, 3, and then run for longer, and then 1, 2, 3, and run for longer, and that's our sequence. And that's what we have. And that's pretty much it. Again, you can use the button to control. Then you can know it's all pretty small, so you can just shove it back in. Again, if you make the button outside, you can reconfigure the decoy very fast, or turn it on with the button. If you don't have a remote around, you just need to turn it on with a to run with this sequence. Because the decoy runs intermittently, the battery is going to last for a longer time, so that's a plus. That is it. Thank you so much.